Boot it up, don't crash today. Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain's still light. Callie's logged in, Techie's tagged. We're logging in with Callie and Techie. Callie bringing culture. Techie talks Techie. Stories, culture, all things too. It's logging in, brought to you. System ready, slightly unstable. You're logging in for a vault, boredom not found. You're logging in, best show around.
All right.
And we're ready for another episode of Logging In. Callie, you there?
And I am logged in. I'm here.
All right, cool. So I'm just gonna mention this briefly and
Yeah.
stuff. I know we talked about the WWE and this Danhausen thing. Essentially,
Yeah.
he is completely destroying wrestling right now to the point where people who have no interest in wrestling whatsoever is essentially calling him the next Hulk Hogan, where essentially
Oh, wow.
and here's the great thing. I mean, this is on the level of like Michael Jordan and all these other things where it's like people who have no interest at all in the sport are going to know this guy's name at some point. That's basically my prediction that I'm throwing out here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems like if people are already gravitating to him and not so much because of wrestling, but because of who he is.
Right. I mean, here's the
It's like it's him who just happens to be associated with wrestling, not wrestling, which just happens to be associated with him. It's like backwards.
Yeah, so this is what I want to mention, and this is just kind of getting our appetizer. Essentially, on Saturday there was some event called Backlash. I have no idea what it's about, but the whole thing is there's all these clips of people going and being like, "At Backlash, I'm gonna destroy you," etc., etc. So then, of course, he had a bunch of those clips, and then he put himself in, and he's like, "Backlash," like really, yeah. So now everybody is not taking this it's just like you can't say Backlash without, and yeah, no, he's completely making fun of it. And then this whole thing, which I guess is called a Slim Jim or whatever. I guess there was like this guy, Macho Man Savage, or I don't know, who would always say, like, snap
Randy
into
Savage.
whatever. Yeah, see, that's how little I know about this. But essentially, he's now parodying Slim Jim commercial. So
Oh, no.
yeah. So he's in there. I'm gonna tell you what happened at Backlash. Again, I don't know much about the wrestling, nor do I care much about the wrestling. I care more about the storyline. Essentially, he was supposed to go and find a tag team partner. He could not find a tag team partner. So as a result, the people that he was supposed to be fighting against went and said, "You're so toxic, the only person that you could even find as a partner is yourself." In which case he's like, "Oh, yeah." So then he decided to build a cloning machine. Like, you can't make this up.
Oh, heck no.
You can't make this up. So then the night of Backlash, the cloning machine comes out, and then what takes place is that a mini version of himself comes out of the cloning machine, and he's staring there like, "You gotta be kidding me," because he's thinking he's gonna make a clone of himself, but the clone of himself happens to be this mini version, and
a mini version of
right,
him.
exactly, who apparently is an absolutely incredible wrestler, and as a result, it's giving the community of, and I guess the proper term is wrestling midgets, the ability to
No, you can't say midgets. It's little people.
No, but in wrestling term, look it up.
They're
Look up.
calling them midgets.
No,
They're referring to them
they
as
want
midgets.
to be called that. Midget. It's called midget
Oh,
wrestling.
okay.
It is called midget wrestling.
Okay.
That is the proper
Okay.
term.
Got it.
Term of it. There's another group that's called micro wrestling as well. But if you look up midget wrestling, it is a thing. It is an actual.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
They did away with the political correctness of it all.
in wrestling, yes. In that
Yeah,
entertainment
it makes sense. I
wrestling
can see
area,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I can see that.
So that's why it's like I just need to kind of clarify on that, even though the proper term would be little people, et cetera, et cetera. So just to make things even more interesting about all this, and this is why I'm just bringing this up, because I mean I'm seeing this all over social media. Essentially, at some point, the people that they're fighting against takes the clone of the Danhausen and puts him back into the clone machine, which we've already seen now that if you take Danhausen, who is a very tall individual, and put him in the cloning machine, it makes a smaller version of Danhausen, right? So what would you think would happen
Yes.
if you put a clone version that's smaller than Danhausen?
Is he gonna be smaller
Correct.
or
So,
bigger?
smaller.
He's gonna be even smaller.
Even smaller. So as a result, a bunch of even smaller wrestling versions dressed up as Danhausen ended up coming in and
Heck
pummeled
nah.
everything. And as a result, you can even kind of look this up or whatever. It's like it reminded a lot of people of Gremlins, where now these little Housens.
When they multiply.
Yep. So now, the after fight event that took place, there was he showed up with their little Housens, and they ended up taking over everything. So they were operating the camera. They took over the boom mic.
That does sound like Gremlins.
Right. But he's taking all these references and building a storyline where it's like everybody's always saying wrestling is fake. In this case, he is fully acknowledging wrestling is fake, but is putting out a story and a
Right.
product that's
A real story around a fake, around a fake form of entertainment, a fake
Right.
sport entertainment.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the only reason why this show isn't about wrestling and stuff, and we're gonna just kind of keep monitoring this guy, because I mean, again, it feels like he's very on target when it comes to the general understanding of how this all works, and
Yeah.
yeah, and this is gonna sound really weird right now for the audience, but I have to actually pause right now because I have just been presented with a dirty diaper. So I'm going to temporarily log out for one moment,
Okay.
and I'm going to
Okay.
click on pause, and then we'll resume.
I'm pausing too.
Okay, I'm back. Are you there? Hopefully.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so that was gnarly. That was a full diaper. I can't even. I guess that's speaking of chaos. I mean, but yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that essentially storytelling is back. That's what I gotta say. Is like
That's good.
people are taking this individual is taking 80s, like even just earlier, he's taking Buster Keaton, he's taking all these classics and is putting it back into entertainment. Along with that, after the whole fiasco that took place with Snow White, where they were doing the live action Snow White, those people in the little people community are getting more representation from this guy than they probably had in a long time. That's what
That's
I gotta
pretty
say.
good though, especially as large and wide as the wrestling entertainment industry is. So that's pretty good. That's
And
pretty good
what's
considering.
interesting as well, if these individuals try to become big on their own, they would not be able to, unfortunately.
No.
people-
It's the
What I was going to say is people are looking for the social media handles of these little wrestlers that are performing this Danhausen spectacle.
That's hilarious. That's good though. That's good. It's opening up doors for them, you know,
Right.
and in ways like you said, they wouldn't be able to, get that type of notoriety on their own. There's only a handful that we see, in movies and in other forms of entertainment, and it's usually the same ones, that we see. So good for them.
Right. So I wouldn't be bringing up any of this if it wasn't for that I believe this is going to be the catalyst for more representation to be taking place. That's at least my thought process, because again, people are going wild over this.
Yeah. Well, I guess it remains to be seen.
Yeah, exactly. So last episode we were talking about cars monitoring you, and I was completely freaked out. So let's just jump into that.
Okay, so looking ahead, buying a car might come with more than just a monthly payment. It might come with a built-in observer. New federal safety efforts meant that by 2027, most new vehicles in the US were expected to include monitoring systems designed to track driver alertness. That includes cameras watching eye movement, sensors analyzing behavior, and AI determining whether someone is too tired or possibly impaired to drive. Unlike traditional breathalyzers, these systems wouldn't ask permission. If the car detected something off, it could prevent the vehicle from starting or limit how it operates. Supporters said this goal was simple. To reduce accidents caused by drunk or drowsy driving and save lives. But not everyone was comfortable with the approach. Critics raised concerns about privacy, data collection, and reliability, especially the idea that your car could misread a bad morning as impairment and lock you out completely. Right. Add in the potential of cost increases, and the idea of arguing with your own car before work, and suddenly convenience didn't feel so convenient. So, I mean, it's like, would you trust your car to decide if you can drive?
No.
When it comes to safety versus privacy, it's like people are wondering, it's like, okay, where do you stand? Because what happens if the system gets it wrong? Are we getting too comfortable with constant monitoring? And it just made me think back to the episode last week where we were talking about they thought it was a bear, and they thought, it was
Right.
totally off, and so now they can get it wrong. We've seen them get it wrong. We've seen these AI and other mechanisms and such. We've seen them get it wrong. So you're in your car and your car is no longer operating because it sent something that was off. Maybe you blinked a little too long.
Explain that to a kid. What if you're going and you're trying to get your wife to the hospital or the emergency room, and I don't know, you've been up all night because you're expecting this kid to show up.
Right.
So now
and you're yawning like crazy. You're rubbing your eyes. You're blinking like crazy.
Right.
So the car says, "Oh, you're tired. We're gonna pull over and stop." What?
And it's like, yes,
or we're gonna stop, right?
Yes, I am tired, but what am I supposed to do here?
Right. Right. And this is as of 2027.
Let's say it's
most
3
new
a.m.
vehicles.
3 a.m. Okay.
Yep.
You wake up. Your kid's got blood all over them.
Yep.
You need to rush them to an ER. You're not waiting for the ambulance. You just need to get them going. But you're You're in pajamas and you're exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
But you're on pure.
Or you're
adrenaline.
driving.
Go ahead.
And it might pick up on your emotions, your nerves, what you're saying. It's an emergency situation, and it might interpret it as something where they need to stop the car because you are not in a good headspace to drive.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's where
it's
I'm going
too much.
With. That's what I'm going with. It's
like,
or you've been screaming at your kid because they did not listen, and now they're going to be late for school. So you're aggravated because you had this bad
Yeah.
argument. And
Yeah.
now your car decides, hey, I'm going to join in this conversation by not allowing you to drive your kid to school. So now you
Yeah.
got this kid who it's like,
Your
what's your
your car.
excuse? My dad's
Right,
car
right,
wouldn't
right.
drive
What are you gonna
because
say?
he was.
No, no, there's the excuse. My dad's car put him in timeout. The car put you in timeout because you were being, according to the car, you were too erratic.
Right,
Oh my
right.
gosh.
I mean,
Yep, but this is most US vehicles.
what are you supposed
Hmm.
to do with this?
Most new ones.
I don't think the
I
EU
don't
would
know.
allow it. I don't think the EU would allow it. God.
Hmm. Yep. As of 2027.
Well, let's go
Ay, ay,
with
ay.
China allowing AI to
Hmm.
replace workers.
No, they're saying that they're not going to let it happen as easily. Or it says AI can't replace workers, not as easily. Over in China, the push toward automation hit an unexpected speed bump, and it came from the courtroom. Chinese courts ruled that companies couldn't use artificial intelligence as a legal reason to fire or push out employees under the country's labor contract law. In one case, a senior tech worker was demoted with a major pay cut after his company introduced AI systems. But the Hans Hangzhou Intermediate People's Court sided with the employee, making it clear that adopting AI is a business choice, not an unavoidable circumstance that justifies cutting jobs. That decision built on an earlier ruling out of Beijing where another worker was protected after his role was automated away. This is what it's called, automated away.
Got
The
it.
message across both cases was consistent. If companies want to bring in AI, they still have responsibilities. That includes retraining workers, offering new roles, and at the very least, negotiating fairly before making cuts. Now, here's where it gets bigger than just one country because China manufacturers because China manufactures a huge portion of the world's electronics. These rulings could ripple outward. Tech companies may now have to spend more on training programs and workforce transitions instead of simply replacing people. And those higher costs could eventually show up in the price of everyday devices. So, while automation isn't slowing down, it just got a lot more complicated and maybe a little more human. I
Maybe.
thought that was and yeah, maybe. I thought that was very interesting. Now, I don't know about here in the US, but it sounds like, that's what they're doing in China, at least so far. Um,
I don't believe it's going to
and so the
stick,
question
though.
is,
I don't think it's going to stick.
yeah, the
Because,
question is, should companies be required to retrain workers before replacing them with AI?
I mean, they should, but they're not going to, and they're going to
Mhm.
find every way to go
Mm.
into to figure out ways. All this is going to lead to is basically them figuring out ways to showcase that they are not efficient workers, and as a result, should be laid off because they're not doing what the company is requiring of them. That's it.
Yep, because here's another question. Is this a smart protection for workers or a
No,
barrier to innovation?
no,
Now, to
this
your
is,
point of what you just said, they're going to show that they're not as efficient. That could be put up as a barrier, like, hey, we can't even be innovative because,
yep.
right?
No, no, the government's just doing lip service to go in to say, hey, we're protecting workers. And at the same time, these
Mm,
companies are basically going to be like, hey, this is the load that we expect you to get done. Oh, you can't do that? Well, I'm sorry. We no longer have a position for
mm,
you. So, what this
mm,
is going to mean is that essentially those that are going to stay on are those that give
mm-hmm,
their life to the company, have no work life balance whatsoever. It's going to create
mm,
a much worse situation because what are they retraining them on? Are they retraining them to go and to lose more of their social life? Like what's it gonna
Mm,
be?
that's quite
Speculation.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
companies always
I
figure it
wonder if
out.
this is gonna what'd you say?
I said the companies always figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see, you know. I haven't heard anything else about it, but we'll see. But yeah, that's what I have about the AI and how supposedly it's not that easy to replace employees. So
Yeah.
more to come, probably.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wanted to talk about this guy named Hunter Peterson. Don't know if you heard of him at all, or
Mm-hmm.
i- have you,
Mm-mm. Not
or
that I
not
know
really?
of.
Okay. He's a
Not just
YouTuber.
by the name, no.
He's basically
Okay.
another one of these influencers. Spirit Airlines. Remember you talked about it last week about it
Oh
going down.
yeah, yeah.
He
Uh-huh. They're raising like tons of money too. Did you hear about
This
that?
is the guy, Hunter Peterson.
Oh,
He
okay.
Yes. So he basically went online and he went and he said, "Hey, listen to me, everybody. It costs $45 for a ticket to Spirit. If I could get everybody over the age of 18 to go into a pledge $45, then we have enough money to go into purchase Spirit." And so he ended up making this entire site called Spirit 2.0. He was able to go and to get the
Mm-hmm.
Spirit Union to sign on. He was able to go and to acquire the former social media team of Spirit. And he's
Mm.
essentially working on the plans to go and to create the legal structure necessary to be able to acquire Spirit in a way which he describes as a Costco model, so that
Yeah.
you're, I'm being 100% serious, you're paying
Yeah.
either a yearly fee that's more of a
Uh-huh.
basic membership, or a more
Mm-hmm.
executive fee that's going to be a little bit more expensive, and you're only allowed to fly on the airplane if you're a member. If you're not a member, you're not allowed to fly. With
Really?
Yes. So
Mm.
if you want to fly on Spirit 2.0, if he ends up acquiring the company, then essentially
Yeah.
he's going to make it the first, from what I understand, the first ever member only airplane co-op situation.
I wonder if this is gonna pass with the airline industry, the
It
government. I
it might
wonder.
it might, because essentially the way that it works is that his ticket prices are going to be lower, because all of his costs are going to be taken care of upfront from the yearly membership fee.
Yeah, but the pilots and FAA, I wonder. I
Everything,
just
everything.
wonder.
Well, he's
That
basically
is
getting
really
the
unheard of.
old Spirit team working with him, so that he has a board of former Spirit members.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's the sort of crowdfunding that I'm hearing about.
Yes, that's exactly what you're hearing about. So far, there's been over 371,552 pledges, with the average pledge around $907. The target raise is
Mm-hmm.
1.75 billion. They are around 337 million. They have a
Right.
lot
I knew
more
it was over
pledges than that,
300.
but they're not reporting it
Mm-hmm.
because they believe some of the pledges were joke pledges. So they're only
Oh
reporting the
shoot.
ones that they
Yeah.
think are actual, legitimate pledges. Yeah,
Wow. That would be a trip because Trump he said he'd do it if he could own 90%,
right.
you know, and it's like yeah, no. So this would be crazy if something like this were to happen. This would be crazy. A first, very unheard of, completely unheard of. You know, it's so interesting the creativity and the access that people have and the risks and the things that people are doing today
Yep.
versus even 20 years ago. It's so different now,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. So if you
Cuz
want to
nobody
own
20 years
Spirit,
ago would think to do something like that, I don't believe.
no, I don't think so. So if you want to
Yeah.
own Spirit, you need to go to letsbuyspiritair.com. Now, if you find any other website that's selling merchandise or taking actual money, then those websites are currently, you would consider those total scams and spams. They are not taking any money right now. They're only doing non binding pledges of intent only. So make sure that
Mm.
you're on the actual website and not some of these fake websites that are taking money. But the other thing that's
And say it again
interesting,
for the viewers. It's what is it? Let's what?
it's let's buy spiritair.com. Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Let's buy spiritair.com.
Yeah, I already
Don't get
put my pledge
scammed.
in. I already
Yeah.
put my pledge in. But
Mm.
yeah. The other
Wow.
thing that's interesting is that the owner of Banana Ball, he has mentioned in a post that they might be interested in purchasing Spirit and making Banana Airlines.
Oh, banana. Oh,
Right,
wow.
from the Banana Ball. Yeah, the guy who dresses up in yellow tux named Jesse, he basically put a post
Uh-huh.
out saying, I heard there is an airline with a bunch of yellow planes available. And he basically goes and says why not? Like and everybody's really excited because he could make flying fun again. So the question ends up being, if he is interested, is he going to partner up with Hunter? Is he doing this independently and he's going to go against everybody else? Like, nobody knows what the result is going to be, but they're saying this is going to be the equivalent of being able to own the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, what?
Well, do you know
Really?
you can buy ownership in the Green Bay Packers. You don't have votes, but you can buy ownership. It is possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to see what exactly
So when are they
this.
going to be collecting money? Well, I guess people they just have to do their research.
No, no, no. They're
Um
not collecting money yet. They're only going to collect money if this actually becomes a reality, because right now they're writing up white papers and they're going through the bankruptcy procedure while presenting videos explaining exactly what's going on.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's real. I think that's really great. Honestly, I think it's really great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Talk about innovative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So a few more things kind of like airline wise or whatever that's really interesting. Remember
Mm-hmm.
we've spoken earlier. Tyler Oliveira, do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, and then the other one was I think the guy's name is Nick Shelby. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right. Who did the whole thing with the Leering Center and the fraud that was taking place. So anyway, Nick Shelby, he's in trouble in Cuba right now because the Cuban
Mm.
government doesn't like the fact of what he's doing, and so basically he put out a post of how he was almost taken hostage for making a documentary about Cuba. Yeah. So
Oh.
yes, yes, Cuban
Wow.
spies went for Nick Shirley. They
Oh
seized his
no.
cameras and tailed him. Yeah, yeah,
Whoa.
yep. Meanwhile, Tyler decided that he was going to go to Israel and to do his usual YouTube thing in Israel. And if you remember, uh, he's been putting out some not very nice things about Jewish people, essentially. So
Mm-hmm.
He flew, from what I understand, is he flew El Al, which is very Israeli. El Al allowed him to go onto the airplane. He went through security. He went through the normal questions that they did. He was allowed to fly to Israel, but once he arrived to Israel, they denied him entry, which means he was then forced to get back on an airplane and fly back. Do you understand what they
What?
did here?
He would break it down.
Okay, I'll break it down. If they were denying Tyler entry, what they could have done
Yes.
is when he was trying to get on the flight from the U.S. onto El Al, what he could have ended up doing was they could have gone and said, "Sorry, Tyler, you're denied." But instead, Israel decided, yes, let him go and go on a flight and have to sit on an airplane to go to Israel. And then once he arrives at Israel, let's force him to then fly all the way back on an airplane instead of denying him from the very beginning. They
Oh my
purposely made him fly
gosh.
twice in a very short period of time.
And that is not a short flight.
No.
Oh my gosh. Who does a turnaround to Israel? We're not talking Reno and Tahoe or,
No.
any place that's, Atlantic City. I don't know. Depends on where people are. But we're not talking about turnarounds that you can just do in a weekend. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Wow. Talk
Yep.
about playing in your face.
Right. So
Wow.
he was denied by the Diaspora Affairs Minister, who stated that Oliveira specifically came to Israel with the aim of spreading hatred.
Oh.
So
Wow.
no entry for to Mr.
Wow.
Tyler or Mr. Oliveira, however
Ugh.
you want to put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that showcases the level of, and we talked about this earlier with, what is his name, Don Lemon and stuff. It showcases the
Right.
level of freedom of speech that's provided in America.
Mm-hmm.
I think these
Yeah.
YouTubers are way too used to getting their way. And
Yep.
as a result of it, they're trying to go to other countries, not realizing that these other countries do not play by the same rules.
Realizing a little too late. They're realizing it as it happens, like in real time. Like, you know what I mean? And they're like the example, the
Right.
unfortunate example,
Right.
It just doesn't work. All these liberties that you have over here, it does not work like that everywhere else.
Right. So whatever you think you have for freedom of press and all these other things, like, maybe you'll appreciate it more after this has happened to you. But it's interesting that just 2 YouTubers had this happen to them within the same week.
Wow.
Right.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
I was just trying to digest that and fully understand that. All right. I want to end with one more thought. I know this is a longer show, but things happen. If
Yeah.
you have a wireless router that is an older wireless router from 2024 or earlier, you might want to get a new router, because the FBI allegedly may have reset your wireless router remotely, because they obtained a court order to allow them to remotely reset thousands of affected devices in the US. So as a result, if you've got
What?
one of these routers, you probably want to replace it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
Welcome to
gosh.
Logging In. We try to tell you things that you should know.
Yeah. Even we find out, I didn't even hear about this. So wow. Okay.
Well,
2024.
literally this came out on today at 5:10 a.m. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So that's why you haven't heard. It's It's so breaking news as far as I'm aware of. And like 9 to 5 Mac basically put out a list of some of these routers. And there's just
Mm-hmm.
like so many different router choices and stuff like that, like TP-Link and all kinds of other things. But yeah, like if your router especially doesn't receive firmware updates, then essentially
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes very important to just be aware that you may need to go in to change out your router. That might end up
Wow.
being an important thing to do.
I wonder if these internet and cable and these other carriers are going to inform their customers like, hey, we need to update the routers. We need you to
You would
switch them out. We
hope.
need you to bring it in. Right.
You would absolutely
Right.
hope that
Uh-oh.
would be the case. But
Yeah.
no, that's I don't know. It's just kind of
Yeah.
important to just be aware of those sort of things.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. Because I didn't know anything about that. So I'll definitely be following that for sure.
Yeah. But the FBI specifically recommends that remote workers use a VPN when accessing sensitive data. But then again, how do you even trust that?
Right.
But unless you specifically need to remotely access your router, it's recommended to disable the remote management feature in the admin settings. It's bad.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got to look into that.
yeah.
I got to look into that
But I love how 9 to
for
5
sure.
Max says the average 9 to 5 reader is unlikely to be using one of the affected routers since, of course, they're so old.
Hmm.
And many of the routers that the FBI originally featured were ones that were launched in 2007.
Oh, those
But
are hecka old.
right, but there also are N routers and stuff like that. There's a lot of TP-Link ones. So if you have a TP-Link, basically, if you've got a router and you haven't changed it out in a few years, might be a good time to switch out your
Yeah.
router.
Yeah. Definitely do your research, your due diligence, because that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I mean, granted, people in the comments are even mentioning that Netgear routers have a tendency to start malfunctioning within a year of going out of warranty. Yeah,
Oh yeah, so they only make them to last so long.
right, but people still use them.
Yeah, for as long as they can.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm.
so all these modems and routers or whatever that I've been holding on to, I gotta toss them. It's
That's a
sad.
trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dang, no privacy.
But there
Messing
you
with our
go.
routers, monitoring inside our cars is yeah. There you go. That's that. Is that the episode?
I think that's it.
My goodness.
I think we've specific. That's why I started with comedy and at least something light and fluffy. And of course then we end with the apocalypse taking place and everybody hide under your pillows because we're losing our jobs.
The boogeyman is coming to get you.
We're having our cars controlled by AI. We're having just everything happen at once. So that's pretty much it.
Oh man. All right. Well, we will definitely have more in store next week because one thing about the news, it never stops.
Exactly. All right, I gotta log out and take care of everything.
All right, I'm logging out. I'll talk to you next week.
Okay, have a good one. All right, bye.
Okay.
Boot it
All
up.
right.
Don't crash today. Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain still lagged. Callie's logged in. Techies tag, we're logging in with Coley and Techie. Callie bringing culture, Techie talks Techie. Stories, culture, updates too. It's logging in, brought to you not found. You're logging in, best show around. Boot it up, don't crash today. Wi-Fi smoothie, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain still active. Tally's logged in, techies tagged. We're logging in with Collie and Tech.